Hey everybody, it's David Becker here with BeckerArt, and today's paint along will be this beautiful snow scene. And actually we've had gotten some snow in Illinois, and actually in Indiana, and it kind of looks like this probably, with all the, what do you call it, the lights in the sky, Borealis, those northern lights. So that's been going on everywhere, I think, at the northern lights. So but we're not going to paint that. We're painting a sunset of a river. And again, I don't have a drink to rate because I just don't. So we're going to go right into our. I gotta go find some place that I can get the beers by cans and the drinks by simple things. Anyways, let's go to our website, davidartbecker.com or beckerart.net. And I'm actually talking to somebody. We're going to be redoing most of my website soon, and so that'll be fun. That'll be done hopefully before or after Christmas. So we'll see. Snow and Oshkosh. Oh, hey Tina. Oh, that's so. Then this painting will be perfect for you. And let's go to our supplies. Our supplies will be my BeckerArt brushes, my watercolors. I'm using my new palette, and I don't have the colors all listed up yet, because I'm still deciding what colors to put into this palette, and we'll let you know as soon as I know. And then we are going to be using Stonehenge, but we're using a 140 today, so I'll show you how to do that. Let's go right to our value pattern. And so with our value pattern, so look at this lovely scene. Isn't this a lovely scene? So what we're going to do is we are going to use those colors, but one thing weird about this value study is that this painting has a lot to do with the colors that you're using. The foreground being cool and the background being warm. So the background being warm shows the sun setting, and then you're going to see that in the water. And so that's the background. So with the snow scene, you can do warm backgrounds, cool foregrounds. And so it's not very contrasty with values. And the only values you're going to see. So it's almost like a high-key painting. And a high-key painting meaning that most of the painting is light, and in your center of interest would be like some of the darks, but actually the sun and right in smack in the middle. So this is kind of a formal composition, meaning that what's on one side is on the other side, and so it's very formal, and that's not a bad way to do it. And the sun, and basically right down the middle, well, I'm going to offset it a little bit to the left, and the sun, so it's not right in the middle. Though I could leave it there, it's a formal composition, but I'm going to make it informal by making it a little bit over to the side. And the sides are a little bit different enough. I think I drew them up a little bit different so that there's a little bit more on the... No, I'm right down the middle. So it's a formal composition, so we'll keep it at that. And that's not bad. Like, or Georgia O'Keeffe did a lot of formal compositions where one thing's on one side and the same as on the other side, weight-wise and stuff. And so it's not like in the thirds as much. And so, but I will put the sun in the thirds, so it'll be a little bit over to the... Let's see, I'll put the sun a little bit over to this side. So you can see right here, it's right in the middle. And so I'm just going to move it over here just a little bit. I could move it on this side since it's a little bit heavier too. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll put it right over here. I'll just make it a little bit off center. All right. And if you have any questions, please let me know, and we'll get right to our tabletop. And so in my new palette, I'm really excited about my new palette. I still have 2 spaces available for colors and that I'm not sure what I'm going to be using. But this is the colors I use when I'm outside. But and these are my basic color schemes, and I will. Once I get them all figured out, I will put a label on them, and I will let you know in the beginning when I show the colors that I use. I'll put them in there, and I usually try to say what I'm using, not all the time, but I try to do that a little bit. All right, so since I'm using a 140-pound paper, it's very thin compared to the 300-pound, and so I'm going to wet the back. And I don't tape it down because that's when you make it it'll just be all kind of wrinkly if you... So I'm just going to wet the back with water. Now I'm doing it on a towel like I always do, but since it's going to be damp, and I'm going to let it sit here for a little second, and I'm doing the back so that it lays flat. And this is my continuous sprayer until it stops. Okay, there we stopped. So now I'm going to take my brush, my big 1 1/4, and I will take it. Oh, it's got some paint in it, but that's okay. I'm gonna kind of let it soak in a little bit, And I'm going to turn it over. Now it's going to go upwards, and usually I put on plexiglass, but I don't need to do that because I'm going to just start painting right away, and I'm going to do my lights first. And the nice thing about this is most of it, as you saw on the value study, and we didn't even talk about that. Let's go back for 1 second. But see how most of this is light? The sky is yellowish gold, and the light blue is of the snow is blue, but it's still all light, so that's going to be do first, right? We always do our lights first, so I'm going to take and do all my lights first. And even I'll do my yellows in the background first and go right to the foreground and put those purpley blues in there right away too. All right, so let's go back here and just start. And so since I'm going to do it all, I'm going to also wet the whole front. And that'll lay it flat because right now it's turned up a little bit because it's again I'm using 140-pound paper, and so but watch how fast it goes down now because now I wet the whole front because the backside stretched out a little bit, right? Because it's expanding the paper. That's how come if you tape it expands and then it will wrinkle on you. But see, just wet the whole paper. I could even dump this into a little tub, but just by wetting it. But now it's flat, right? Now it's totally flat. And the back side will dry because it's not a towel, but that's okay. But at least now it's going to lay flat. And if I didn't wet the back, it would buckle in this way because it'd be wrinkles because the back side is dry and it wouldn't expand as much as the front side would expand. All right, so let's just go in there and just start with my yellows. My palette is still dirty. I'm really loving my new palette that I made. I like everything about it, and I have a cover. Now I thought I would show you. I just take a piece of plexiglass and I just lay it on top of here. See, like this, I just lay it on top, and I'm gonna put the names of the colors right on top of my plexiglass with a Sharpie. So I'm really excited about this when I go out. Now I will have about 3 or 4 palettes that are all the same amount of there's 30 colors, and there's going to be all in the same spot, so I never have to know where that color is. I'm still getting used to it a little bit. So, all right, so we're gonna start with like a yellow. This is, I think, yellow, permanent yellow light. And so I'm gonna look for the sun, the only white part here. So I'm just gonna go right there, go right around it. So let's put the sun right there. And then I also have quinacridone gold, which I may have to make 2 of those. 2 of them because I always use blue with it to make my greens. But there we go. See, I can get the green out of there right away. And so there's a gold. And then since there's a lot of foliage back there, that's going to be trees. It's kind of light. Even though they're dark trees, they're still, I want to keep them light. So I'm first going to get the sky colors. I'm going to get the sky color of and a little bit of pink. A little bit of pink in there too. And everything's wet, so everything's going to be soft edge, right? So I don't have to worry about softening any edges. I don't have to worry about blending. Watercolors don't blend. We don't do blending. We let the water do the blending for us. Something I told my class this week, but it's true. It's like you don't blend in watercolor. You just let the pigment go in the water, and the water then blends it to a nice soft edge. We're going to go from orange right into like a pink and right into a lavender, into a blue type of thing. There's a lot of pink in here, a lot of pink and orange in the sky, kind of salmon-y color back here. And again, since it's all wet, you're not going to get any hard edges unless I use a little bit thicker pigment for certain areas. Let's say I want to get some a little bit thicker to make it look like, the twigs or branches back here. I can just take my brush and tap down to make it look kind of branch-like. You can do that. I can take it a little bit closer to the sun, make it a little bit more orange. Like there's maybe a tree back here, and make it orange right there. Maybe there's a pine tree back there. And the sun is so bright right there, everything turns orange and golden, basically. So I'm just going to keep on coming down. And I'm working way back there, and I'm going to try to get these leaves. And I'm going to use my ugly brush. I'm going to use this ugly brush to make texture back there while it's wet. See, I make a little texture, and it's going to look like this tree back here. I'm just going to make that tree by adding pretty thick paint. I'm going directly into the paint, which is basically orange and maybe a little bit of lavender to make it kind of brownish, maybe brownish gold. And then we're going to go over here. There's another tree right here. This should be a little bit darker on this side because when it's away from the sun, it's going to get a little bit more, you know, a little bit more grayer, not as orange. Now when we get down here, we are going to switch over to a lavender. You know, it's a lavender-y blue, maybe verditer. So I'm going to go right in here. I'm kind of tapping and dabbing to get the foliage, basically. And none of the snow is white, except for right here, there's a little bit of white snow. I mean, everything else is in shadow, so it's white snow, but it's in shadow, basically. Yeah, no, the snow is white. It's not yellow. But it's not like pure white. It's not pure white because it's all mostly in shadow. So let me get this in shadow. You notice how when it's all wet, you just put in, you know, and it automatically becomes soft edged. You don't have to worry about that. It just is automatically soft edged. I go into my pink here a little bit so that the purple and pink make, you know, a little bit more pinkish lilac kind of color. I actually do have lilac in there. But again, there's a lot of texture back there, and I can't do everything in the individual branch back there, right? So I'm just using the ugly brush, which you can get at your local hardware store. And it's a chip brush, and they're like 50 cents. And so the worst look, this is an ugly brush, I call it, because it's the ugliest brush you've ever seen, but it makes the best looking foliage. You can use a fan brush, but that's kind of almost too perfect, the fan brush. You know, so this is perfect enough to show. And I can go back in there later and get the branches and stuff like that, but it's great for texture. Great for texture. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful, the texture it's got going there? Now on this side, we have a lot of violet. So, and I know somebody in New Zealand, what's his name? John Lovett uses one of these brushes, but only a half-inch one. And he uses it for almost his whole painting. It's amazing how he uses this cheap brush to make everything in his painting. Or Australia, either New Zealand or Australia. John Lovett. He was teaching one time for the Main Street Gallery, and then he went into my studio, and I had my studio. Now look at how I'm putting this lavender right over the thing, because now this is more farther forward. So when I'm coming farther forward, it's going to be more violets, right? So it's in the front. So I can put a little bit back here, and I've got a. Again, this is still my lights, basically, because remember I said most of it is light. So I'm doing my lights, but it's a little bit like doing my details, too. And I always say, once in a while, you have to do everything. You know, it's like you have to do step 1, step 2, step 3 all at once, because like what I'm doing now, I have to get the texture now. You know, get some of the texture now. And this is starting to dry, so I'm going to take my mister. And when you use your mister, don't shoot it. Take it from the side, start to spray up, and then just take it over it really lightly, because it's continuous, and then that's it. No more. Don't shoot it. Just come from the side, like take it from the side and come over and let it just rest on there, and it just gives it another little bit more texture of water, so they can keep on painting in a wet surface. Now let's go back to our golden colors, because we got to match that in the water. Right, we got to go with the water to match those colors that I used up on top, and that's orangey. So take the orange, and that's going to be right around here, right? This is going to be about around here. The white sun is going to be right here, so I'm going to go around that again, but down here now. So that's going to stay light, and then we're just going to come down and copy what I have in the sky, basically. Up here it should be a little bit pinker. So I'm actually using pink. I actually have pink in my palette. I love pink in my palette, and I also have this jaune number 2, I think it's called, jaune number 2. It's like a flesh tone, but it makes a great salmon color when you add it to yellow. So see how that's still the brightest? That's the only white of the paper. So that's going to be the white of the paper, and everything else should be a color. It shouldn't be anything brighter than the sun. So all this is going to have to be toned down a little bit. I'm just bringing this down, and this is the water reflecting what's up on top here. And then there's also reflections from this purple into the water. But first I'm going to get my lights. The light parts come first. Now these trees I'm going to put in later. Those I will put in later. I can maybe put some of that. And look at, since it was all wet, see all that texture, that it's all gone, right? So I didn't use enough pigment and when I'm doing that. But I can do that when it's dry too. I can go back in with my ugly brush, but not so much texture, or not so much contrast, and just keep it light, and it'll be fine. It will be absolutely fine. Let's get a little bit of lavender in here. And I like Vertider blue for shadows and snow. Vertider, we just looked at the name of it. It's Vertider. And so it's a blue with kind of a purpley blue. And it's nice because it kind of has that little bit of purple in it. It's a blue with a little bit of purple in it. So that's kind of nice. And that's kind of why I put it next to lavender. I kind of put it right next to the lavender color. And I'm just getting the shading of the snow. It's still white snow, but the edges are going to be a little bit lighter. And I think I can pull this out here too. I'm going to pull out a little bit of the color because I kind of went over parts, and so you can just pull things out too. Get back to the white of the paper and get back there a little bit. And it's all going to be soft edge because it's all still wet. Now when I pull the water out of the paper, yes, it may dry a little bit right there. So make sure you just kind of pull in some of the water and let the water come back in there. And then we can negative paint a little bit of the yellow around here to make it. I can't go over that one spot. Just remember, I can't go over that one spot because that's going to be the white. That has to be white. Nothing else should be white of the paper. The rim lighting on here I can put in later and show you with white paint, or just leave it white as you're painting. So, see any questions? Nope, not yet. Ask questions, guys. Oh wait, where'd my thing go? Oh, there we go. All right, so I can go slowly now and just kind of work it. I love working wet into wet. I do that a lot in the beginning of all my work when I'm in my studio because it's basically how you get all your soft edges, right? And so that's when you got to get them too, in the beginning. So these are going to be clumps of snow. These are going to be clumps of snow in there. And it's kind of weird to think that I'm putting a darker color on top of the yellow, but that's going to be the snow. But it's the snow that's in shadow. And you'll see, but when I put my darks in there, this is still my lights. When I put my darks in there, you're going to see how this all of a sudden turns into lighter snow. They're basically blobs of blue that are the snow that's on top of the branches, basically is what I'm doing. I can do that for this side too. And then make little blobs of snow. I'm using with lavender and Vertider blue. And this, if you got the little clumps drawn up, you can just put them in on the drawing. But I kind of lost my drawing here, so I'm just kind of making them up. We get a little bit darker in there. We're doing the lights. We're doing the lights, and we're getting all the beautiful light colors in there. And I'm using my more lavendery blue in the front. And back here a little bit too. That's okay. A little bit back here. Here's the shoreline a little bit. Put a little bit of that shoreline in. The shoreline is always dark. It's pretty dark underneath this stuff, and so I'm just going to put a little bit of shoreline in there. Now his snow is lighter, and then I'm just going to put some of the Vertider blue in there. Put it on the side. Put it right into the water. It's going to reflect. This is going to reflect in the water. This water is pretty still, so you're going to see a lot of that reflecting from what's above it. Here we got a little bit of blue in there. Now this foreground is going to have to be a little bit more orange like that. No matter what is in the picture, it's what you put up there that has come down here, not what's in the picture. Because I didn't get exactly what's in the picture, so I can't go by the picture because I did something different up here. So this is water that's reflecting that, and so you got to go take that, bring it down here. And then you can also make waves like this. Go with back and forth with your brush. And over here we got a lot of violet reflecting this. And if you want to do this smaller, do this small. Do it like for a card. Do it like for a Christmas card. Don't have to do everything really big all the time. Do some smaller paintings. Smaller paintings are great to learn from. A lot of times if you go too big, it's hard. It's hard to do bigger paintings. I was telling my students, if you're starting out, don't be afraid to go small. Not really, really small, just enough that your brushes, are working for that painting. Like if it's too small, like a 4" by 4", and it's a little bit different. But 8 by 10, 9 by 12, those are all great sizes. This side has a lot of dark that's going to be in here, so that comes later. Well, actually, I can put some of it in now. So I'll put a little bit, and that's going to be a dark green, very dark green. And a little bit of purple with the green. I'll make it dull. I'll dull it down a little bit. But I gotta make it really dark. Super, super dark. And a little black to make it super dark too. And so that's gonna go underneath here a little bit. And I know I shouldn't put the darks in there yet because that's in the next wash. But since I know there's gonna be darks in there, I want to put it into make it soft edged. If you know what you're going to put up there, if you know, then, you can put it in later too and wet it, and then it'd be fine. But I just want to put a little bit in there now to get the softness to it. And then, of course, the violet-y blue is down here. I want to, because the sun is here, so let's bring this over a little bit. And watch out if you're using yellow, don't put blue in there because it'll turn it green. So if you're working with violets, work more with the orange red. And that works better because there's orange and violet. So, there's red and violet. So there's also red and orange. So use more of the reddish orange, not the yellowish orange. Now little waves. I'm not getting all the little waves in there, just enough to show that it's water basically. And then this little darker, this purple right there. I'm just gonna put that in there. It's gonna be in the water. It's not Berketer, it's Verditer. V-E-R, V-E-R-D-I-T-E-R, Verditer. Must be saying it wrong. If you don't have that color, take your lavender and mix some blue into it. Mix some, because it's like purple, but with a little blue. So take your lavender if you got lavender. If you don't got lavender, then mix white with purple, and get that, and then mix a little bit of blue into it. It's just a bluish purple. Like a purpley blue. It's basically a purpley blue. And really, if you don't even have that, that's fine too. Just go with a blue or go with a violet. It's really, the color doesn't have to be exactly to that. I just like that color because to me it says purple, and I like purple, of course. That's the color I love. There's a train. I gotta see which ones of these is purple. I'm still getting used to this palette, so I don't know exactly where everything is yet. Because when you start a new palette, you really work with it a few times so you know where things are at. So this area I want to be a little bit darker now. So now I'm going with my large medium and darks, which I kind of did down here. Is a little bit more dark, but let's go with a little bit darker now. Our medium tones. Let's take a little bit of purple. Permanent violet is what I'm using. And that's how you make lavender, is take purple, like a permanent violet, and add white to it. and that'll give you more of a lavender color. Lavender and some of these pinks, they're all made with white, and so get yourself some white, titanium white, and mix them with those colors, and you'll get some really nice pastel-y colors. And you can make them, you can use them, and they will be transparent if you use them like I'm using them right now, because these colors have white in them. But if I'm using it really wet, they become transparent because you're letting them float in the water, and they're going to be still a little bit transparent until you put them on thick. Once you put them on thick, then of course you got gouache. You're using it like gouache then. All right, so now this is all still wet, and now I want to think about doing those trees again. And it's starting to dry a little bit up there, so I'm going to take my ugly brush again, and now I'm just going to take colors that I had used before. No water in my brush. The water is still damp down there, so I can keep that nice dampness, and I can then just tap a little bit of the ugly brush and make it look. My brush is not wet, so I'm not gonna make watermarks. I'm just adding color to the kind of damp paper, and it'll just give me just enough texture to make it look like the tree. Right? I can just. It's still damp, but it's not going to be wet and I can also do this with my regular brush. Watch this. I'm just going to take this pure pigment. Well, it's a little bit damp. My brush has to be a little bit damp to pick up the pigment, but then I can go in here and then I'm not putting in water down. I'm putting pigment down, and I can just tap it. And it's a light value, so I can get these little trees in there, and they'll still stay pretty soft edge because I'm using a thick amount of paint, not really thick, but enough to get this edge, give it a little bit more edging and give it more texture. And then do the nervous twitch, the BeckerArt nervous twitch, where you just kind of get nervous like this and then just kind of go back and forth. So yeah, I'm just a nervous twitch. Then when you get to the sun, take a pure orange or yellow, pure orange and yellow, because that has to be really, really colorful right there, really bright there. And I'm just going to put this. I'm going to burn out the section right there. Use yellow, pure yellow. Now I'm using, and again, because my paper is still damp, I can just make these lines in there, and they'll be soft edged, but they're damp. It's very damp. But if I don't use water on dampness, you're not going to get a watermark. If you use too much water in your brush, you're going to get a watermark. But if you just use pigment and it's damp, you're just going to create a little bit of a texture, right? I'm just getting the texture of the trees. I'm kind of drawing the trees in. And look at how it looks like your sun is right there. When I get down to that point, I make it yellow. And when I go away from that, I make it a little bit darker, a little bit more gray, as soon as I get away from the sun. But by the sun, I'm going to make it yellow, then go right to orange, maybe even to red, down here, a little bit darker as you go away from the sun. You also, as you go away from the sun, use purple, use lavender, use lilac. This is a lilac color, which is purple and red, more of a red purple. And so then just go with a little bit darker color, and then make the trunks of the tree a little bit darker now too. And again, I'm using pure pigment on my brush. I don't put much water in my brush, because if I do, then I'll make watermarks. Anytime your brush is wetter than the surface of the paper, you're gonna make a watermark. It's still wet because I soaked it. Remember, I soaked it with a lot of water. I try to do as much of the painting as I can in wet and wet, because it's really a neat way of getting soft edges. And then once it dries, all the hard edges, that's fun to do then. You could just put all the hard edges in, all the hard edges. So your painting won't look really complete until you get the hard edges in. But that's always the last detail thing anyways, right? When I always say, at the end, like some of these branches I shouldn't even put in, because it's like a little bit, I should make more texture. So let's make more texture. Today there was Megan Ripke. She was demonstrating at our club, our watercolor club, and she uses a hake brush a lot, and I don't have a hake brush here to soften an edge while it's wet. Great idea to do. I always forget that I should be using a hake brush. It's a goat hair brush that's like, and you keep it dry. You don't wet the hair, and then you just go over it to soften edges while it's wet. While it's wet, you go in there. I'm gonna take a little bit more texture. Doesn't that sound like Bob Ross doing his with his big brush? So let's go with our other brush again. Hello from Columbus, Ohio, Karen. Hey Sylvia. Don't have bright. Okay. Hello David. Love this photo. Hey Eve. Evie. Nice little put in the branches and the trunks and everything, and it doesn't have to be exactly like the photo, you know, just get close. And you know, copying of photos is so hard when you're trying to do it. You know, that takes you time if you're going to do exactly like the photo. Hyperrealism takes time, and you can do that, but just remember, you take your time then if you're going to do hyperrealism, and you make it really like the photo that you see. If you're not, then, you know, do like I do. I do impressionistic. I kind of make it look just like what I want it to look like. Let's see, this can be a little bit darker. Take a little bit darker purple over here. You really got to watch how much water you got in your brush, because I could easily make watermarks really quickly, because this paper is very damp. It's very damp. But you can get a hard edge with damp paper because you just use thicker paint. You don't put much water in your brush at all, and then just go with pigment, and then just stick it into the dampness. And it's going to still be soft. Not too thick. I mean, you don't want to get it so thick that it's oil or like acrylic. Just enough to keep it floating. All right, so there are that's my background basically. So, like, we're going to go to our darks now. And, because those are my lights, and that was even lights too. That's really the light, because remember, only darks were the edges of the, underneath the tree, and the edges of the water, and the underneath the snow of the tree. So, now let's make ourselves a really dark. So I'm going to take Prussian blue, this is purple. Okay, take a purple, Prussian blue, go for your really dark color. So there's Prussian blue, permanent violet. I'm going to take a quinacridone gold to make it green. And then this is going to be thick now, and hopefully it's dry enough, but I'm using it really thick, and it's still a little damp, so that's okay. I'm going to go in here, but I'm using it so thick, and I'm going to just make underneath these mounds of that I put the purple down. And you notice how we can't even see it because you do with this hand. I'm bending the bristles, and so I'm getting the bristles, the side of the bristle, to make the pine needles, basically, and go around the thing. So I'm working on my left hand now. This is interesting. I'm just going to put in the darks. This way you can see it. When I'm putting in, I use the back of the brush. I push down on the point of the brush, and then I move the brush over. So I'm using the back of the bristles to get the look of the pine needles. And we're all where I put that blue, I do it where it's light. I don't do it. I keep it away from the blue because that's the snow. I go on top of that, and I can even put it in there later on too. But I'm going to try to just, and what you can do is put down that color, put masking fluid down over top of that. But that's so much work, and I'm a lazy artist. So make this a little bit darker, a little bit more dark blue. And I try to get my darks dark right away. I don't build them up, my darks. I know some people like to build up their darks. I like to get them right away because they look better that way, and they have the fresh look. I gotta get a little more purple into these darks. It's a purpley green, and there's a lot of branches and stuff over here, and so and I'm gonna outline the tree a little bit, the trunk of the tree right here. And see how the snow is developing? This is called negative painting. The snow is already there. You're painting around it, and you're painting underneath it, underneath the mounds of snow. And so what I do is I kind of look at the front part of the snow, and then put the branches on the top part of the snow to get the top part, and then underneath I make it even darker, and then that's where I get the petals, or the needles, I mean. I try to make needle looking type of branches. And up here, since there's nothing up there, but I'm going to put some of that up there. And then there's a lot of dark in here, but it's not all just super dark. And as you noticed, I'm still working wet and wet. I didn't dry the paper. The paper is still wet. It's still damp. And it's lost the sheen over here. As soon as you lose the sheen, then you know it's almost dry. And so that you'd have to re-wet if I wanted soft edges. But this is farther back, this tree, so why not let it be a little bit softer? That's okay. As long as I don't use more water back here than is on the paper, I'm fine. It's going to be a nice, beautiful looking softer edge. Now I'm going right into the water, get this, and this branch right there is going to be, it's going to be in the water. Oh, it's actually a little bit higher. Oops. Oh well. Didn't do that exactly right. Okay, that's okay. I'm just going to be a little dark in there. See, I didn't show the part of the snow in there, but that's okay. We'll just deal with that later. So this is where it should have been. That should have been the light part. And then this is the branches over here. And now this is going to be becoming hard edge, right? Because it's starting to get really dry. And so once the paper is dry, you're going to get hard edges. And then we come down here. And we don't have to do everything with this dark, but why not? Let's go in here. I'll get the darks, and then this is going to be the reflection of that part again. And notice that these are all the branches hanging here. They're kind of coming down here. So I'm going to make them a little bit more wave-like, and like there's waves. And so I'm going to go back and forth here and there a little bit. Now let's go to the other side. Let's drop to the other side. Hold on one second here. Let's go to this side now, and let's go a little bit lighter in the background. So go again with purple, but just a lighter purpley blue-green, kind of a gray. And so I'm just going to stay back here and do not quite as dark, maybe a little bit lighter. Just make it a little bit lighter color. This side is still a little wet there. You can see it's a little bit more damp, and so I'm just getting the edges done. And then this is a little bit darker here, and so put that down here into the water. I like doing these edges real quick, and I'll do the snow on top of that because I want to do that while it's dry, because then I can get the shadows and the stuff a little bit better. And so I'm just going to go for my little small dark details now, and this is dry, so see how everything is hard edge now? But if you keep the low contrast, that's a good thing too. Keep it low contrast. I don't want to get too much water, so I'm going to go with my on my towel. I'm just going to go in here on my towel, leave one side a little bit lighter. Oh, look what happened here. I just sprayed a little bit there. So let's get that. Oh, but we'll make those trees later. Watch when it's all dry. Right now, it's going to just be some of this. What colors are the green pine needles? The green pine needles were Prussian blue, a little bit of violet, and cornicum gold. Q gold is how I make my greens. All my greens are made with Q gold. I don't have a green in my palette except for the leaf green, which is a really bright green, more of a yellow, I say. All right, and so there you have the snow mounds, right? A little bit of mounds of snow. And now let's do the tree up here on this side too, because there's some darks in here. Now I'm going to make it a little bit different because I'm going to make some branches coming from a tree You know, there could be tree branches on the other side of this pine tree, because a lot of times in the forest there's all kinds of trees, right? And they're all like living together in the forest. And I'll put some snow on them later. I'm going to show you how to use white paint for that. And I know I'm not a traditional watercolorist anymore because I do use a lot of white lately. Transparent watercolor is great. I love it. But I've been trying to be, because I've been doing a lot of plein air, I do get out there, and I don't have time to do like masking fluid and stuff, so I do a lot of thick paint then, like almost like gouache. I gouache it up a little bit. That is not dark enough a green, so let's put a little bit more violet in there, make it a little bit violet-y green. It's almost black. Some of these pine branches and needles and stuff, they're almost black, some of them. And again, by pushing you can make pine needles with the back of your brush. And here you got underneath. So the dark parts of the blue are underneath, right? The dark parts. And so you look for the dark part of the blue, and that's where you put the pine needles, because the snow is on top of them, on the top of the snow branches. And there's a lot of branches back here. There's a lot of little things going on up here. Maybe a little bigger branches coming up. Maybe a bigger one. It goes down through here, maybe. Boy, what's going on with the trains out there today? Keep on hearing them. And then this is the top of one, so let's bring another one in front of this. And if I don't have snow on top of them, I will put them on later too. And I'm kind of making this up a little bit because that pine tree is not that much that you can see of it. There's more snow on it than I. But you're allowed to do anything you want, so I just make it up then. And you can make it up. Just, look at, is it pine needles, and if there's pine needles on top of them, will be some snow. All right, so there's my dark. Now let's get some shadow on the snow parts of the tree. So I'm gonna take a little bit darker blue now, and I'm gonna make that hard edge. And so, like here is a little shadow. Make a little shadow from the branches, and kind of come in here. And it's okay to have hard edges, because you can soften them too by just taking your brush across it with the water. But on the edge of the snow banks here, you can do it a little bit darker. You see how I'm doing the negative painting by going on the top of it. I'm doing the front part lighter, and then the back part here a little bit darker. And then you can also put little shading, like shadows from the branches and stuff that go across. It could be from this side too. Let's go on this side, make it a little bit bluer, add a little bit of ultramarine to my blue. And then I'm just going to take it and just start shadowing the bottom of the bottom and sides of the snow that's on there. Because right by the pine needles it will be darker because it's away from the sun. This side too, and this side away. The sun's right there, and so it's going to be on the edges, right? Everything's going to be on the edge. Let's put some darker branches back here. This should be a little bit darker right there. You can even make it a little bit darker. Let's make some shadows. One side, the side away from by the dark, so it's going to be darker, right? The side down from the lights will be darker. And then you get negative paint in parts of those other parts. And mine is a little bit bluer than the photo, and the photo is a little bit more orange, a little bit darker in certain spots, but that's okay. You know, you don't have to be right on with the values or the exact colors. You know, I don't copy the color of the photo. I kind of make it up as I'm going. And if I intend to like to use the verditer blue and that's what it's going to be, then that's what it's going to be. I don't care if it doesn't look like the photo exactly in the color, because the color really does not going to show exactly. You don't have to use that unless you want it to look just like that with the color. But I find that, you know, if you have favorite colors, use them instead of having to use exactly what's there. Now here we're going to do a lot of nice shadowing. I'm taking a grayish blue. A little bit darker. Maybe shadows from the sun on there. Now let's do the water. The water has to be done now too. So the water is back there. It almost has a circle for the sun, but it's all darker back here. Like this part will be right across here, right? So this tree is going to be right there. And so let's put that in there. But there's also, it looks like some ice back here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend like I'm going around the ice. Like if there's ice, it's reflecting there's like snow on top of it, a little bit lighter there. And so we'll just bring this over here a little bit. It's like solid, it's not reflecting. It doesn't have the reflections of water. And so over here there's like water. And so that'll be reflected. Because water is like a mirror, and the snow, if it's snow on top or ice on top, it's not as reflective unless there's, you know, solid water or solid ice that didn't have like snow on it or anything. Then you can have it looking a little bit darker. So now I'm taking that yellowy orange and I'm going to put it in here, but I'm going to not do it like the photo. I'm doing a little bit more waves. So there's a lot of this going on right here, and it's even going through the sun, right? And remember what I said, when you go across the sun, you go with yellow, right? Even in the water reflections, you're going to go with the orangey yellow when you get to the sun. And some of it breaks up a little bit because it's hyper, or they call that again. They call that optical scatter. So that's optical scatter. Like it scatters it, and you don't see it so bright that it's taking away the actual object in the sun, because it's so bright you can't see it. You can't see that object in the sun, so it kind of disappears. And there's this tree right here. Look at that. So you can just kind of put that in there. A little bit more orange in that one. A little bit darker. This one's, look at how dark that one is. That one I can go really dark right down here. I'm taking pure orange, mixing it with my grays and stuff, and just gonna kind of, and actually up there it should be, let's let it be blurry. I like blurry things in the background. And as it comes up here, we can just kind of fake it. Maybe put a little bit over this side too. And try to mimic exactly where the thing is, because it's a reflection of what's up there. Maybe I'll put a little of that from here, and I'll put it up here too. This is a little bit of that color. Any questions? Believe how good this looks. I would need a good drawing to start. Wow, David. Thanks. Happy art. Your painting is so much prettier than the picture. Well, thanks. And a good person to see how to do snow and to copy some of his work is John Pike. And that's how I learned how to do a lot of these shadows and stuff. Because I memorize how people do things by copying what they do. And then just, see how they did it. And then kind of try to do it yourself again from the photo of a good artist. It doesn't have to be a master. Just any art that you like, copy it and see what you can do. See if you can mimic what he had done. And then hopefully that'll teach you something that you can use maybe in the rest of your paintings. Like when you do your paintings, maybe you can do some of this stuff. These trees are basically what I learned from John Pike. I mean, basically, they're a lot like his trees. And there's nothing wrong with that. You're not stealing the idea. You're stealing the look, you know, and you're not even stealing every artist. I don't care if you did it to all my paintings. If you want to take my paintings and copy them all, be my guest. I like to teach people, and so it's one way of learning. A lot of the masters copied other masters' works. Don't try to sell exactly a painting that's not yours. You know, don't go sell it as your own. That's one thing you don't want to do. That's plagiarism. So I'm just getting a lot of little textures of the waves and such. Because in the water, it's reflecting all the stuff above, but if there's a few waves, it makes everything kind of, wiggly. It makes everything wiggly. Because there's a lot of lines in there then. That's what's so cool about water, is the reflections in the water when it's wavy a little bit. That's going to make a little wave so that it doesn't be like a mirror. So it's not exactly like a mirror. And then the little reflections of the trees and such. Down here it gets a little bit darker. And you just take what's above. Now on this side in the water, I need to get those greens in there, right? Again, really dark. Greenish purple, green, purple, mix of brown, blue. And so that's over here. Now what I can do is I can make it like really broken up. Like maybe this part's a little bit more broken up with the waves and stuff. You have to, don't go too far though. You can't go farther than the reflection. Like the reflections don't bend, it's right below it. And see, there's nothing right here, and so I gotta put it in there so it looks like it's part of that area. Which is fine, right? You can just put that in there, have just another branch. Maybe do a couple more of these big branches going up. And then you can do this nice little, look at that, see, that's fun. There we go. And if there's something on top of the water, like a little ice chunk, then, you know, you can keep that there. And sometimes if it's really close to you, you can see in the water, so you're seeing the bottom of the water, and that's where you can put the little rocks in there. You can put like the little rocks that like you actually see the rocks in there. Okay, last thing I want to do. We have time? Oh yeah, we have plenty of time. We're gonna get done early today. So when you're using white paint, and if you're not a traditional watercolorist, you wouldn't be using white paint at all. You'd be doing it with masking fluid. But I've been teaching you how to do it with white, and I've used masking fluid, but not so much. Masking fluid, basically you have to know what's going to be white in the beginning, and so you put it in the beginning. Or I use white paint in the end because I don't know what's I want to have white. Now the sun is right here, so everything that the sun is shining against, this is going to be like almost silhouetted. And as I look at this is not dark enough, these things, because as you're coming forward, they'd be a little bit darker, and so that they're more silhouette shaped. And so I'm going to take my bluish purple and make some of this a little bit darker. Maybe use a little bit of peacock blue. No, that's red blue. So you got to make it purple blue. So a little bit more purple, and I'm just going to kind of dull some of these out and a little bit more darks down here. And that way I also get more of the reflection. And do it really wet. Do it really wet because you still want the pigment to float. I just need to get that side a little bit darker. Same thing with this side. Oh, hold on a second. Okay. Just want to make it a little bit darker. So that way you get, by making the snow darker in shadow, then it makes your highlights that are going to be shining from the sun, makes it look brighter. It makes the sun look brighter, but making this bottom part darker. And I kind of don't see very much pink anymore. I might put a little more pinkish, like salmon-y color down here. Only because I kind of like that, because it's a little bit of that in the sun, or in the sky up there, or it was. And again, by darkening, it makes my sun look brighter there too. And this tree I didn't get really right there, so I'm just going to make that right over here a little bit more. Okay. This is a little bit darker. All right, so let's go with some white paint now. And this is, I know a lot of you are like, don't do that, don't use white paint, but I use this stuff called bleed proof white. Dr. Martin bleed proof white. It's out of focus, isn't it? Come on, get into focus. No, it's not going to get in focus unless I... It's Dr. Martin. Dr. Martin's bleed proof white, or you can buy Pro White, it's called. It's in a bottle. So what I do is I just open the bottle, and it's very, at the key liners used to use this for keyline paste up when they were doing ads. And so I just take my small brush, and you can do it in water too. It's water soluble, but it covers up really well. And so I like the look. I like the look of oils when they do the last little bit of white. And so this is basically pure white, and I'm going to put some pure white right here by the sun first too. Just little patches right there, and that'll make it look really bright. And anything right here along there, I'm just going to make it right on that edge right here, only because this is the sun, and the sun is the brightest, and that was too much right there. The thing is, yeah, I can add water to it, but I don't want to make it too crazy with the white. But I want to show you that this, you can put masking fluid first, and then it gives you the same effect. And then you could enter it into a watercolor competitions that where they don't allow white. If you don't use white, you use masking fluid. I'm just making it look like it's really bright right there, and I'm going on top of things. And I put it on pretty thick, and it's just going to brighten up parts that I want to have lit up a little bit, like on the side of this tree. And also snow on the branches, like on these branches, I could put some snow on them that are closer to the sun, type of thing. And it looks kind of weird now, but what I also will do is I will put more of the, because you can mix it with your regular watercolors too, and I can make it more blue or violet. And this now is getting into the gouache. This is the gouache part of this lesson. Because that makes it gouache basically. And if you want to make the snow, you can also add white by tapping and making white pigment to go down. And see, I'm just putting it on top here, and see, I'm making it a little bit purple, this white. And again, this is opaque now, and so this you could not enter into the TWSA, Transparent Watercolor Society, because it's not transparent anymore. But I don't mind this look of a little bit of snow on there that's a little bit purpley. And I definitely don't mind white to make it look sparkly. Like the water can look really sparkly here too. Watch this, right by the sun. I'm going to put all these sparkles in there so that it really sparkles right here. The sun sparkles waves. So you can just put pure dots in the water where the sun is though, right where the sun is here. It sparkles if there's a wave. On the edge of these mounds of snow, you can just put a little white there to show it's reflecting there a little bit. Don't use it too much. I mean, sometimes you can go crazy with this stuff because it is kind of fun. I'm putting on the edge of this just because it's like the edge of this can be like just the sides, right? The sun is hitting these, and sun is so bright. It's amazing what the sun does, when it's out. How bright things get, it's amazing. And then maybe on the edge here a little bit. It's in the water too, right? Because this be in the water, there will be reflections from up there in the water, right? Whatever I'm on top will be in the bottom too. In the water, I mean. What about pink on the snow on the right? Pink on the snow on the right. Over here? Yeah, we could definitely do that, but I had put pink there. I can put some pink there too, yeah, and bring it forward. But actually I want cool in the foreground, warm in the background, so the pink I would maybe put up there a little bit more. And some pink in the snow, you can do that too. And there's a little pink. A little bit more white up here, because this is kind of weird that I did this white and didn't have any more branches going up. All right, guys, I think that's about it. I know we're early. Oh, 7:30. Look at that. Perfect timing. Well, thanks, guys. Again, bleed-proof white. That's how I use my white. And have fun with this one. You know, it's just, you know, it's a bunch of snow. And do it smaller. You can do it as a greeting card if you want. This comes from one of those sites where it's royalty free. So go ahead and use it. And we will see you on Sunday. And please post it on my Facebook page so we can see what you had done. Unless you're using it for greeting card and you don't want to show everybody. All right, so have fun, and we'll see you on Sunday. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.